Hello and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome. My name is Jessica, and for today's video, we are going to be doing a first impressions of all the makeup that I've recently purchased at Ulta. Now, this is a little bit of a sneak peek as to how the makeup turned out, but keep watching to see the process, hear all my thoughts. Let's just jump right in and get started, but before we do, if you like what you see, if you could consider subscribing, I'd really appreciate it, and give the video a like so I know you enjoyed it and want to see more from me, and let's get into trying some new makeup. Now I've already prepped my skin with my Supergoop Unseen Sunscreen, and I have some Aquaphor on my lips, but that is the extent of my skin prep. If you've watched my channel for any amount of time, then you know that I typically don't use primer, so we are going to skip that today just because that's what I typically do on a day-to-day basis. We're going to start with the Maybelline Superstay Skin Tint Plus Vitamin C in the shade 110. Now, I don't know the best way to apply this. I do have my sponges here, but I also have some brushes, so I think we might do what we've done the last couple times we've tried new foundations and do one half of my face with a sponge and the other half with a brush. Since this is a skin tint, I definitely think it probably is meant to be applied with a brush. A sponge will probably really sheer it out, but again, we're going to try it both and just see how it wears. Now, this isn't going to be a wear test by any means, but I do plan on streaming later today, so hopefully all this makeup works out and I can wear it for stream and I don't have to redo anything. I have my mirror here, so I'm just going to use this while I'm putting on the skin tint. I think I'm going to do this side with the brush and this side with the sponge, and I think I might just apply this right to my face. My skin is, like I said, prepped. So like I said, this side we're going to use the brush. Get my hair out of the way. I do think this might be a tad too light, but like I said in the video, they didn't have the shade that foundation said would be a match for me. So I went with the lighter shade because that's just my personal preference, is to go with a little bit lighter of a shade instead of going darker. It's easier for me to darken a foundation than to lighten it. Actually, I think it matches my neck pretty well. Now, does it match my body, which is more tan? Not really, but it matches my neck. I do think 112 might be a better shade match going into the summer when I'm actually more tan, but for now, this will probably work. It's looking pretty good with the brush. All right, now that's one side of my face with the brush, so we're gonna apply to this side with the sponge. Now my skin is fairly clear usually, but I will say I'm kind of going through it a little bit right now, and I do have a couple breakouts, but for the most part, my skin is looking pretty good. The sponge is definitely giving a lighter coverage. Probably should have used the brush on this side because this seems to be the side where I have the breakouts, but it's fine. All right, and there's the skin tint all applied. Let me get you zoomed in so we can kind of look at it a little bit closer and see what we're working with. So we're a little more zoomed in now. As you can tell, it's definitely, like I said, I think a little too light, but honestly, it's looking pretty good. You can still kind of see like the blemishes peeking through a little bit, but honestly, it's a skin tint, so that's to be expected. I'm not expecting it to fully cover any blemishes that I do have. I'm not really seeing too much of a difference between the two sides. It didn't really get too sheared out with the sponge, which is a little surprising to me. I'm not mad at it, and I think this is definitely something that I can easily throw on during the week in the morning if I'm wanting to get a little more ready for work. I don't typically do more than just brows and mascara, but if I have a little more time, sometimes I'll put on a little bit of concealer and some blush. But this would be nice for a day where I want to get a little more ready because it definitely evened out my skin tone, but it was easy to apply and it's not super full coverage to where it looks like I'm wearing makeup, if that makes any sense. Like, it's barely noticeable if I'm being honest. Like I said, I'll probably need to get a darker shade for the summer, but maybe I can get the shade that is supposed to be mine and mix them a little bit. We'll see. But this will definitely be a good shade for me to wear when I'm more fair than I already am. So this is definitely a good first impression so far. I've gone ahead and applied my concealer already. This is the NYX Bare With Me Serum Concealer. Like I said in the shop with me, I didn't get a new concealer. This one is fairly lightweight and it honestly is working pretty well with the skin tint. I wasn't expecting it to not work well, but It's looking pretty nice. I just put it under my eyes and a little bit like on those blemishes just to kind of cover them up a little bit more. I didn't record that because I figured that's a product that I've been using on the channel for a while, so you kind of already know my thoughts. But now I get to try some more new products. Next is bronzer. So we are going to be trying the Milani Cheek Kiss. This is in the shade Hey Honey. Now this is a cream bronzer, and like I said in the shop with me, I haven't used a cream bronzer in a long time. The last one I used was the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer, if I remember correctly. So I am a little nervous for this because I typically use powder products, but I wanted to try some cream liquid products this time around, so that's why I grabbed this. So this was, I think, the lightest shade, so we're just going to use a spectrum brush. This is the C02. I'm just gonna dab in here. I don't want to apply too much, so I'm gonna go pretty lightly in this and probably dab the excess off on the back of my hand. Oh yeah, that's a really pretty bronzer shade. Like I said, it is the lightest shade, so hopefully we can get it blended out. It is a cream, so it shouldn't be too hard to do. And as with cream bronzer, you want to start it a little bit higher on the cheekbone. This looks a little scary now, but I think what I'm going to do is apply it with the brush and then blend it out with my sponge. So let's do that. I'm hoping the sponge doesn't shear it out too much, but you can definitely still see it there. That's actually really pretty. Like I said, this scared me a little bit, but I definitely wanted to try some cream products that would be a little bit easier to apply in the morning so I could get more ready for work. So that's why we're trying this out. Honestly, I have less on this side of the face, and I can get it blended out with the brush, but I do still think I'm going to use the sponge to blend it out. Honestly, I think that might be a perfect shade for me. It might not work in the summertime, but I really don't get much more tan than my like winter shade, you could say. So I think it'll work just fine for year round. I'm going to apply a little bit to my forehead. And honestly, this, I can probably just blend out with the brush. Actually, I am going to use the sponge just a little bit. Speaking of sponges, these are e.l.f. sponges that I'm using. I probably should have purchased new sponges when I was at Ulta because I have had these for a little while, but I did wash them, so they aren't like super bad right now, but I definitely will need to be repurchasing sponges in the near future. I'm just going to add a little to the jaw, nothing too crazy, but I typically add bronzer down here, so just going to see how that looks. I'm actually pretty happy with that. I do think my lighting might be a little too bright to where you can't really see it, but it is there. I definitely think it'll be more noticeable in person without all like my lights on. I'm pretty happy with how that worked. I'm definitely excited about this one. Next is blush, and I have the e.l.f. Sheer For It blush tint. This is in the shade Left on Red. Now, this intrigued me because it looks like a dupe for the Benetint, which I've never used the Benetint, so I'm probably not going to be the best judge on if it is a dupe or not, but I definitely wanted to give this a try. You can also use this on your lips, which I am not going to be doing today because we do have another lip product, but we are going to try this on the cheeks. I'm a little scared, but might as well just jump right in. I think I'm going to use this e.l.f. Putty brush. I bought this a few years back, and I used it when I used the Putty blush and bronzer. e.l.f. did say that there was a brush to use to apply this with, but I obviously didn't get it, so we're just going to see how this works. I'm going to maybe apply it to the brush and see how that works. This is, like I said, a little scary, but I could always apply it with my fingers as well. I'm going to be honest, this is the product that I was most scared about when it came to trying everything, but it's blending out pretty nicely. I'm glad I didn't apply it straight to my face. Maybe if I'm not wearing any foundation or anything like that, I could apply it straight to my face because then I could cover it. but I definitely am glad that I applied it to the brush first. And that's a really pretty color. Again, I think it might not be fully coming off the way it is in person on camera, but it's really pretty. I have been still applying blush to my nose, so just whatever's left on the brush, I'm going to dust across my nose. And I do think I'm going to take the butt of my sponge and just kind of blend everything together. I'm going to turn the brightness down just to see if maybe you can see everything a little bit better. So you can kind of see it there. It's still not super noticeable, but it's definitely a little more noticeable when the brightness is a little bit lower. This might take me a little getting used to. I do think it might have a slight learning curve, but I do like how it looks. I definitely can see it more on this mirror than on camera. And honestly, I'm not mad at it. I do think I need to maybe not apply a little bit more on this side, but maybe blend it a little bit better. It definitely does kind of stick more to where you first apply it, so keep that in mind. Like I'm noticing it's definitely more on the apples of my cheeks than like up higher, but that's okay with me because I don't typically apply blush super high on my cheekbone anyway. That's it for our cream and liquid products. I do think with those, I might potentially try underpainting. I know that was a huge thing a while back, but I do like how it looks on top of the skin tint. I'll have to try it with my more full coverage foundation and see how it wears with that, but so far, so good. Next is setting powder. Now, like I said, have been using one from Tatcha, which I don't even think they make anymore. So I did need to get a new setting powder. So we are using the ColourPop No Filter Loose Setting Powder. Now, I really haven't seen anyone talk about this, like I said, in the shop with me. So we're just going to give this a shot. I don't think this is new by any means. There's a little twisty part in there to kind of shut it so no more powder comes out, which is really nice. We're just going to put a little bit in the cap. I don't set my face too much, just a light dusting so it's easier to apply powder products, which I am planning on probably applying powder products on top of the liquid products just to kind of set everything in place. So we're just going to use this Spectrum brush. This is the A01 and just lightly dust it on the face. I'm not planning on doing any eye makeup, so I think we're just going to finish off the face. Now, as I said in the shop with me, I was looking to get a new brow gel, but I did forget to grab that while I was there. So I'm just going to use the brow gel that I've been using, which is the Maybelline Super Slick Brow Gel. Now, if it was any other day and I was just running errands, going on a date night, then this is where I would stop the face at least, just because in real life you can really see the blush, the bronzer, and it doesn't feel like I need to add anything else. But since I am planning on streaming this afternoon, we are going to do some powder products on top. So I'm just going to do that off camera since these are products that I've been using, and then we'll come back and use our new highlighter. Now for highlighter, we are going to be going on with the e.l.f. Halo Glow Silky Powder Highlighter. This is in the shade Soft Pearl Era. Now I saw this and I was more excited for the size than anything because my Makeup Revolution highlighter that I've been using for the last almost year is such a huge compact. I feel like I'm never going to hit pan on it. It doesn't even look like I'm currently using it. So when I saw a littler compact, I was really excited to try this out. Like I said, I got the shade Soft Pearl Era, and it was between this one and the shade Prosecco Poppin', which looked like a really pretty champagne. But since I am on the fair side, I figured I would try this one out because it is the lightest shade. This is just a Sephora highlighter brush. I couldn't even tell you which one because the writing is all faded. I've had this brush for years. This is definitely a soft highlight. It's not super noticeable, but I definitely can see like a little bit of a sheen on the cheekbone, which is really nice. I'm here for the more soft, subtle highlight that looks like a lit from within kind of glow. That's what I typically gravitate towards. That's really pretty and just like really kind of subtle. That is everything for the face. So real quick, I'm just going to set it with my Milani Make It Last setting spray. Now this is the one that I've been using. It's almost out. I did repurchase one when I was at Ulta, but I'm not going to crack that one open just yet because I do still have some here. And then I'm going to do mascara. So I'm going to do this off camera and then we'll be back to do the lips. All right, mascara is done. I know you all already know my thoughts on the ColourPop Act Natural Defining Mascara, but again, this is just a great mascara. I love it, and it's perfect for every day, but it is also nicer on days when you want to be a little more done up. I don't wear falsies. I just can't really get them to work. So this is just the perfect mascara for me for every day. Now for the lips, we do have the NYX Lip Lingerie Lip Liner Stain. This is in the shade Cuff Me. And I am excited for this because I know a couple other brands have come out with lip liner stains. Summer Fridays is one that I can think of off the top of my head. Now this is a felt tip pen. This is what the pen looks like. And like I said, I had Aquaphor on my lips before just to keep them hydrated, but I did wipe that off. And now we're going to apply this. I'm going to be quiet because obviously it's hard to apply lip liner while you're talking. So just give me 1 second to apply this and we'll be right back. I might have gone a little overboard. I did have to use a little bit of the skin tint to kind of clean up my lips a little bit. This is definitely going to be a little bit of a learning curve for me just because when I have used lip liner in the past, I've used a pencil. I have seen some people talk about the Huda Beauty lip liner stains and they need to be stored upside down, like with the cap down, just to make sure the stain is like at the tip of the pen. So I think it was a little hard to apply at some points just because the tip was starting to dry up a little bit. But I think if I keep it stored cap down, then we shouldn't run into any issues. But I did, as you can see, line my lips, but I also filled them in. This is a little bit darker than I was kind of expecting, but I do still really love this color. I might go back and grab like a little bit lighter of a shade just so I can have something for more of a everyday kind of look if that's what I'm wanting to do. Because like I said, this is definitely darker than I was kind of expecting, but I do really like the color and we are going to see how it wears, if it dries out my lips, and kind of how it lasts throughout the day. Again, not a wear test, but I will just keep you all updated in future videos how it wears. Now for our last product, this is the NYX Jelly Job Full Bodied Shine Gloss. I got the clear one. The shade name is Just Jelly. Now, like I said in the shop with me, I've seen Nicole Consilio talk about these. These lip glosses are interesting, and she has talked about it where it has a silicone tip. So it's not a brush. So I'm curious to see how that applies and how it wears. Like I said, I got the clear one, so we're definitely going to be able to see this lip liner peeking through. Oh my gosh. That is very shiny. It has an interesting scent. It's not like bad. It does remind me of something, but I can't put my finger on it. But I will say the nice thing about a silicone applicator is obviously I'm using a lip liner stain, but if you're just using a regular lip liner, I don't think it would get onto the silicone applicator, but if it did, you could just easily wipe it off. Definitely makes it easier to keep it clean. Very glossy. I might have applied a little too much. Honestly, wow. It filled in my lip lines. My lips are pretty chapped right now because I keep biting them. And it filled in the lip lines, like you can't even tell that my lips are chapped. Okay, I might have to go back and buy some like of the pinkier shades. Like I said, my Ulta didn't have any of those in stock when I went, but I'm definitely gonna have to go back. This is really nice and I'm actually really happy with it. I'm just gonna go touch up my hair real quick and then I will be back to give my final thoughts. We are back. I have touched up my hair and now I'm going to give my final thoughts on all the products we tried out today. Honestly, everything worked out really well and there's nothing that really stood out to me as a product that I didn't enjoy. Now, there were some things where I'm definitely going to need to play around with them, mainly the e.l.f. blush tint, the NYX Lip Lingerie lip liner stain, and also the Milani cream bronzer. Mostly because I, like I said, haven't used cream or liquid products in a while. So these are definitely going to take some getting used to, some playing around and figuring out the best way to apply them, the best way to blend them out. But I am excited to mess around with them a little bit more and figure those things out and just, you know, play around with some makeup. The lip liner stain, obviously, I just need to figure out best way to store it, how to apply it. This is a really pretty shade, as we can see, and I definitely really enjoyed it. So I am definitely intrigued and will be probably purchasing some more if this wears well on my lips. This skin tint now, like I said, might be a little too light for me, so I do think I might still go back to Ulta and maybe get the shade that foundation recommended for me, which was 112, but this will probably work pretty well for me in the winter months when I'm very, very fair. It blended out really nicely with both the brush and the sponge, and honestly, you can't really tell that it's not the right shade. It does look a little too light, but with the bronzer and everything else applied, it doesn't look too bad. I think I can continue to get some use out of this, but I will definitely try to get my correct shade. We all know I love the ColourPop mascara and the Milani setting spray, so I'm not gonna dig into those too deep. The highlighter definitely was a very pretty pearly sheen. It's not super noticeable. It's not leaving any lines on my face. I definitely really like how subtle it is. I know a lot of people still love using blinding highlights, but that's just not me. I'm definitely more of a natural highlight kind of girl, so I think this is a really good color, and I might still go back to Ulta and get Prosecco Poppin' eventually, but I definitely love Soft Pearl Era. It's a perfect shade for me. I really enjoyed the ColourPop setting powder. Now, this is very fine. Like I said, it didn't feel like I was even putting powder on my face, which is definitely something that I look for when it comes to setting powders. I want something to set my face but not feel like it's there. So I'm definitely happy with this purchase and I'm excited to keep using it. Last but not least is the NYX Jelly Drop Lip Gloss. I should have known I was gonna love it. We'll see how it wears on my lips if it slides around because like I said, it's very glossy. It's very shiny as you can tell. I really like this and I think I might like it more than the CoverGirl one that I've been using. So I definitely think I might try to go get one of the more pinky nude shades that they have and try that out as well. But this is a really pretty gloss, very shiny, very slippy, and I do like the silicone applicator. I'm definitely impressed with this one as well. And that is it for our first impressions on all the products that I purchased from Ulta. I am very happy with all of these. Like I said, there's going to be some learning curves with some of the products, but I think all in all, it was a successful shopping trip and the makeup looks pretty good if I do say so myself. Thank you all so much for being here and for hanging out with me. If you have any makeup products that you think I should try out, definitely leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to give the video a like if you enjoyed it and subscribe before you leave, and I will see you in the next video.